Good morning, good morning, good morning. We're gonna light this incense and gonna recite a meditation first and foremost. I want to say that I am grateful, thankful that my rent is paid in full, fully paid my rent and electricity bill, and due to the brains and muscle, tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands, even perhaps millions of Quebecers like myself, although I have not personally been involved in the building of the 63 dams of Hydro-Quebec that are across this Label province, North America and Canada, Quebec, and that not only give to Quebec, La Belle Province, province of Canada in North America, electricity that is clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy, but also to about five or even six, I believe six now, six states in the USA. So doing that mindfulness meditation that I have brewed my coffee, and it's Monday's laundry day for yours truly. Monday is laundry day. Monday is laundry day for yours truly. So I'm doing my laundry with clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy that I'm utilizing thanks to the brains and the muscle of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps in more than 40, 50, 60 years actually. Hydro-Quebec dates to the 1920s and 30s, but in its modern incarnation, I'm counting the decades when in 1963, when the office, main headquarters office on Sherbrooke in Montreal, Hawk Island was constructed and built. The skyscraper, one of the tallest back then. Of course, 63 dams were built, hydroelectric dams across this province, Bell Province, which power all the electricity without exception. All the electricity that we use in the private and the public, in the business, in the schools now. Schools now today, whether private or public, operate from that electricity, a combination of one or two, or a combination of multiplicity of combined, one of those, one or several of those 63 dams, and of course the power lines across this province of Quebec, which were built again with brain and muscle, because it does take brain and muscle to build, maintain, and upgrade civilization. And it's 11:32 a.m. here in the morning. Yours truly, independent athlete, independent artist, independent activist. To that trinity, AAA trinity, adds a few more dimensions, such as a philosopher, a geopolitical analyst and theorist, a poet, which would be an artist. Poet is an artist, right? A dancer is also an artist. For me, dancing is a sport, my favorite sport. I just want to continue with saying that I'm grateful, thankful. I want to say thank you, love you, kiss you to the farmers, because everybody gotta eat. Even Wall Street, everybody gotta eat. Even Wall Street. Everybody gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. Even Wall Street, and even our later today, of course, I'm gonna work out, train, exercise. With special, gonna watch some football games. Great honor, of course. Love football, love the game of football. Dancing is my favorite sport. Dancing is a sport, and of course, some brain and some muscle. Yours truly, Adrian H. Dragonborn, being reborn. Adrian Hanna, dragon with this cup of coffee and this meditation and every dancing move. Dancing move and meditation that do. Adrian Hanna, dragon. Yours truly, independent athlete, independent artist, independent activist. Triple A plus other dimensions. It's not perfect, far from it. And of course, I do admit that at some things I am mediocre, at some things I am average, at other things I am so-so. While being so-so at some things and mediocre at others, I am excellent, super and great at geopolitical analysis and theory, can give sophisticated geopolitical analysis and theorizing of a complex nature, analyzing multidimensional facets of regions and cultures and civilization from the past treaties or the past conflicts which they had with each other or within the region, contextual region, and XYZ, on a sophisticated, cosmopolitan, overly verbose, and perhaps overly too intellectual as an individual, as an independent intellectual, as an independent academic, and spent many years with one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, where I declared myself the people's doctor who got to take a dose of my own medicine once in a while, which has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine. Working out, training, and exercising is how I medicate, and how is my therapy. Working out by push-ups, by squats, and by hawks, that is, and by marching steps, taking long walks, that is my medicine and therapy. And of course, gratitude, because I'm grateful. Look at this cup of coffee, see. This black cup of coffee comes from a red berry initially, but it was initially made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess with her brother the sun. As a universal spiritual teaching student, I say the word goddess. You can be an atheist, and I'm non-sectarian, non-dogmatic. I'm non-sectarian, non-sectarian, non-dogmatic. We can dance, we can work out, we can train. You don't have to believe in anything spirituality-wise. Whatever, we can do business and be complementary in other things such as philosophy, or actions and solutions. And of course, for my own recovery, I know all about recovery and healing. Action has been required, and action is required for myself and for many others across here, Canada, coast to coast. That way is the East Coast, Atlantic, Canada, or the Maritimes, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Labrador, and that way is the West Coast. And we have to take the time zone because it's morning here, 11:35 a.m. in the morning here. That means that we got to subtract 3 hours. So meaning that it's 8:35 in British Columbia, Vancouver. Their morning, starting their morning, and of course in Seattle, Washington. Seattle in the Washington State, Seattle City, Washington State, that way, and of course San Francisco, California, the Bay Area in California, San Francisco, LA. It's also the same time zone. So we got time zones across this collective North American civilization. And of course today I will be discussing my dream, which is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. That is my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. As I am on this cup of coffee, I'm gonna do some meditation on this cup of coffee. It was initially made and created from the black fertile earth, with the water, with the nutrients, with the elements and the vitamins combined within the black fertile earth and the dance, the sun rays. It's not We're not openly aware that there's sun rays, there's sunlight, sun rays in the black coffee bean, or in the fruit that we eat, or in the berry, or in the grain. Well, there is. There's also nutrients, vitamins, and minerals. Everything that the beautiful black earth comprises of, the nutrients, vitamins, and earth. And of course, there's also sunlight. And the sun now covers Canada coast to coast, US coast to coast, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Panama, all the way to Bolivia, Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay, Argentina, Chile, Brazil, and the Surinames, South America, Central America, and North America. I don't know the country of origin of this cup of coffee. It could be that the coffee bean comes from Brazil because it's the biggest producer and de facto exporter. It could be from Ethiopia in Africa. It could be from Uganda in Africa. It could also be from Ivory Coast, Africa, or it could be from Vietnam, from Asia. It can be imported from Vietnam. Vietnam has become in the past decade a top producer of coffee and the top exporter. I believe it's the second now. Vietnam has risen in its coffee production, has plotted a lot of plot of lands. They have dedicated it for the coffee growing operations, and they grow a lot of coffee now in Vietnam. I've had Viet coffee from, check the label, although this label does not say made in or product of. It just says that it's a dark roast, so it's a very good coffee that I'm drinking, and I'm glad that I bought it almost half price. It was, I think, 40% off, maybe 42 or 44% off. Doing the calculation of the ratio, it wasn't exactly half. It was close to half off, but it wasn't exactly half by $1.56 or so. So maybe 44%, 44% or so, 44% more or less. But it was harvested by one of my brothers and sisters, farmers who harvest all the fruits. As we got farm privilege. I never farmed. You ever farmed? If you ever farmed? Well, I did farm. I did farm in urban farming a few times at a small plot, small lots. Worked the labor of the farming, so and I did harvest the fruits of my own labor in the farming. But most of us, right, and since many decades, millennials like myself, speaking from a millennials perspective, well, you see, we have all these things that we take for granted or we're not fully aware of. And we see with COVID how a lot of things, did a lot of meditation, a lot of writing as I've done in the past during COVID, how, of course, civilization is built, summarizes as civilization is built with brains and muscle. And of course, it takes feelings and emotions because I feel sometimes like I'm moody, upset. We got the subconscious irrational fears, we got a subconscious irrational lust, we got a subconscious that sometimes it drives us to XYZ factors, right? My main philosophy as a philosopher, as an independent psychological analyst and theorist is sublimate and channel and sublimate and channel. Yes, sure, I got aggression, I admit it, but channel and sublimate. Work out, do some push-ups, do some squats, do some hawks, work out, get the sweat, already feel much better. Right around now, I'm in the good mood. Sometimes I'm so moody. I self-analyze. I'm a good my own self-rank. I say I'm this and that. I'm on dry. Well, the LGBTQ issue is not a factor for me since I've been in the open as being androgynous, pansexual for many years now. I've been in the open as androgynous, pansexual for many years. I've been in the open as being androgynous, pansexual. I'm a man and I'm a woman. I'm a pansexual. Part of the LGBTQ community, sure. I was bitter when I lost economic, financial, commercial, money, money, money. When continuance of continuance of blessings, continuance of the opportunity and stuff like that. Lose people gossip. We gossip, right? Because we feel sometimes, myself included, feel sometimes inferior. Right? Wow, he's got so much skills. He's so much better than me at that. He's so adept at speaking. Well, I'm a good poet. I'm the greatest living. When combined poetry and dance, I'm the greatest. But I admit that at some things I am mediocre. Some things I am average. At other things I am so-so. So while I admit that I'm so-so average and mediocre at some things, I admit that I'm also great, super, and excellent at other things. So these things can be complementary, right? And everybody deserves a second chance, a third chance, a second and a third, even more chances. Sure, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm a POS myself. Some other people's like not saying that I'm as a universal spiritual teaching student. I'm floating on clouds of blue all the time, blue and white clouds that I'm self-righteous. No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I watch some pornography, adult movies during the Sabbath. Well, I also set a discipline and a rule that I'm only going to watch during the Sabbath, which of course now is not the Sabbath. The Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom begins Friday at midnight and ends Sunday at around 3 p.m. Right, I put some discipline on my habits. I've changed a lot of habits. I changed a lot of habits. Recovery, right? Because denying ourselves, or repressing, we're gonna make us is gonna make people ill, right? It's gonna make we're gonna be sick. We're gonna be ill. So channeling and sublimating best in the things that we do, and coming from understanding that we have so many a variety of natures within myself and experience that sometimes we're loath to admit and be ashamed of, right? The LGBTQ issue for me and being part of the LGBTQ community, it's still an ongoing struggle, an ongoing struggle. And I take also the reference, and I repeat this reference like my brothers and sisters. I'm gonna say especially brothers in the patriarchal sports leagues. I'm gonna say patriarchal. I love the sport, and I watch it. I work out. I call for more action. I do call for the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, the players and the owners, the players and the owners, the players and the owners to give what they made during COVID each, the players and the owners, 10% to women's sports leagues. Because my brothers, there's not even one women's sports league which makes even close. Financially, economically, commercially, let's be honest. That's why my dream is the DGA, the Dancing Goddess Army, the International Integrated Dance League. All gender inclusive, all ages, all sexual orientations, all gender. The Dancing Goddess Army. Because dancing for me is a sport, and I'm calling on the NFL to triple the cheerleader salaries and give to women's sports leagues. And please, 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 if you made $1 million on the stock market today, it's already been 2 hours and 13 minutes. Buy, sell, trade stocks, future options, puts, commodities, sell, buy, trade, Wall Street in the Black Hawk, Mr. Fing, Black Rock, the Mr. Fing. And on Wall Street, because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. And please give 10% of every million you make profit to divided by 4, food security, women's sports, LGBTQ, youth services, and Mother Nature. That 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. 10% of $1 million, you take a zero is 100,000, right? Because 10 times 10 is 100. I'm okay at percentages. So divide it. If you make $1 million on the stock market today, or will make tomorrow, or made $1 million last week, please give 10% for food security. 10% of 100 of $1 million is 100,000 divided by 4. That is 25,000, right? 100,000 divided by 4 is 25,000. 25,000 for food security, because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. 25,000 for women's sports leagues. 25,000 for LGBTQ youth services, and 25,000 for Mother Nature. Plant a tree for every tree that we cut. That's my call of action. Myself, gotta pay my $10,000 in debt, so I can't do any charity. First thing that I'm gonna do with money. And of course, money is a unit of exchange. First thing I'm gonna do is pay my debt. But if we're gonna implement my theory, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, best we won't have to, and I'm calling for that. That is, I firmly believe in my trinity of theories known as the CIT, DRT, and DFT. Stands for Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, and Democratic Fusion Theory. That trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension, LOVE. That's what I'm calling for. Because if not about love, my brothers and sisters, I don't want nothing to do about it. I don't want Nothing to do about it. There's shades of love. There's rainbow love. There's black love. There's white and black mixed together. There's rainbow love. There's all sorts of love. Right? I admit I'm not totally selfless as a universal spiritual teaching student because I'm learning every day. I don't have all the answers. I believe in past lives incarnations, of which I had many. Past lives incarnation from ancient Egypt by the Nile to ancient Sumeria by the Euphrates, ancient India by the Ganges, ancient Danube by Europe. Right here, I was born in on the island, which I call Hawk Island, Hawk. Many past lives, many incarnations, and right here in this 11:45 a.m. I'm gonna say I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is fully paid my rent in full, fully paid my electricity. Electricity has been paid in full. My rent has been paid in full. It is October 17th. I'm calling a call to the heart for the Halloween. It's coming in 2 weeks exactly, right? Please, 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 corporations, reduce it ASAP. By 3 p.m. today, if somebody makes it, type. Adriana Dragon's message, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom's message, the Dragon's message. Please reduce it by half. The candies, the sweets, the goods, the chocolates, ASAP. This is one time with this tough economic, financial, commercial times with inflation and shrinkflation for the families, right? Just corporations with mega profits, banks, and in the oil and the tech. Please, please, please. For this Halloween, let's make it for the children, for the children, for the children. There's nearly no way, no fucking way. If I would have been multi-millionaire, I would have not financed now during this Halloween. With all I got lusts, I got vices. I told you, watch a little bit of PORN during the weekend. I pleasure XYZ. I'm openly androgynous, pansexual. I don't need to spy on me, RCMP. Don't need to spy on me, RCMP. Don't don't need to spy on me, RCMP, CSI, CSIS, NSA, NSA, CIA. Matter of fact, let us the DGA dance in the for world peace in the parliaments in the everywhere east, west, north, south, and the Dragon Army do some push-ups and some squats and calling all to adopt my workout training program called the General War Integrated Whole Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army workout. So no need to spy on me, CIA, CSIS, RCMP, and FSB, former KGB, FSB, former KGB. Stasi are gone after 1989 November in Berlin, East Germany, right? It was East Germany, notorious. Or the Mossad. Tiny feet, tiny hands, tiny little androgynous scar-clad dick. Now that we got that out of the way, we can perhaps do some more serious matters in this tough economic, financial, commercial times and implement my trinity of theories, the CIT, citizen integration theory, debt fusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory. That trinity of theories to be implemented via love, the fourth dimension. Love is the fourth dimension. Love is not about love. And love is also action, right? Love is also action. Love is also action. Doing X, Y, Z, doing Z, Y, Z, doing Z, Y, Z, right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to send some love to the farmers of the collective North American civilization, which is my theory, and firmly believe that North America, we constitute a collective civilization. That North America, we constitute a collective civilization. Canada, US, Mexico, and I include the islands. Paradoxically, there's another cup of coffee if you want to sponsor, blah, 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 just on dimension of the inclusion of Cuba in the collective North American civilization, the sphere, calling my geopolitical theory, which I believe to be true, that North America, we constitute a collective North American civilization, that there's a sphere, a collective North American civilization, right? And it includes Cuba. That's a paradox. If you want to sponsor an hour just on that matter, please feel free, blah, blah, blah. Feel free to do so. Sponsor, we can make a deal for an hour just discussing my theory, lecturing a class on any subject, topic whatsoever, XYZ. Please feel free because I need to pay my $10,000 in $10,000 debt, $10,000 debt. But if we have the debt refusion theory, my theory implemented, we won't have to. So I do include Cuba in the collective North American civilization. The paradox I've written over the past years, the collective North American civilization on USB keys and typed somewhere. It's a lot of it is in the head as well as I'm dictating, lecturing, giving classes on my theories, classes on my spirituality, classes on philosophy, classes on love and love is action and the body of my philosophy that this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and how do we invest in it? By working out, training, and exercising. That's how I invest in it. Have been them, and will call for the mass financing of people to work out, train, exercise, and calling for the public-private partnership of the Dragon Army in complementary with the Dancing Goddess Army, which is my dream. But before I do go into my dream, I want to say thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, big dragon hugs. I offer that To all my willingly loving allies and armies, pledge your allegiance, legions, thou de facto family. To all my willingly loving allies and armies, pledge your allegiance, legions, thou de facto family. To all my willingly loving allies and armies, pledge your allegiance, legions, thou de facto family. That's what I got to offer. Kisses, I got 718 trillions of kisses. A trillion is a thousand billion, a billion is a thousand million. Cause got one kiss sent from the Queen of Heaven to the sister below, who dances with her brother's son to make, create, and produce all fruits, vegetables, and legumes our brothers and sisters, farmers harvest, for us to make, upgrade, or maintain civilization, right? With the food everybody gotta eat. But I got kisses credited in order to distribute with the condition those kisses were credited to yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragon. Kisses were credited with the condition that will freely distribute to all my willingly loving allies and armies. So kisses got, hugs got, big dragon hugs. Please, with consent and hygiene. If you're watching, listen to me, anything while watching, I can show you a big hugs. Just big hug. Oh, hug like you never hugged before. Today with consent is the message. Everything that I say, the main message is today with consent. Hygiene, hug like you never hugged before. Today is the main message with consent and hygiene. Today is the main message. Hug like you never hugged before. Today, that is the main message. And my trinity of theories, which there's, it's serious. It's serious. We're living in serious times. Although I like to use humor, I like to make people laugh, feel good, comedy. I'm not a dictator, although I can be a lion tamer. I'm not a dictator. I can be a lion tamer. I'm not a dictator. I can be a lion tamer. But freedom is a double-edged sword with one edge responsibility, the other liberty. And I'm a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. I am a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. I'm a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. And I do firmly believe in my trinity of theories known as CIT, citizen integration theory, digital fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory. That trinity or theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension, LOVE, in order to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, the Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, with the Dragon Army, the DA. To be for pleasure and purpose, the Dancing Goddess Army, to pleasure, to dance for pleasure and pleasurable activities, whatever it is, recreation, spas, baths, massages, and dancing, 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 and for purpose, the environment, to attain harmony between environment and mother nature and civilization. How? By education, encouraging an education and education and action, education and action, education and action. How we can do better in recycling, in compost, individual citizens, maybe that, to do patrol, see if we in the recycling bins, does this go there? No, this doesn't go there, tell people nicely, hey, please, this doesn't go there, with information, distribute information, education and action. So how we can do better recycling, how we can do better compost, how we can do better on the consumption of electricity. Well, here we're grateful, thankful, and I'm gonna offer kisses and big dragon hugs to the past, present, and future workers of Hydro Quebec, because that's what I got to offer. I can offer some poetry, some songs, some rock and roll, some rap with that, of course, but mainly got kisses and hugs. Mainly got kisses and hugs, and a lot of workout training, and some brains and some muscles, some philosophy, art, poetry, and intellectual ideas in my trinity of theory, CIT, DRT, and DFT, which I'm calling for their implementation. So thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers, farmers, farmers of the North America. Thank you, love you, kiss you, butchers and bakers and cooks and truckers, truckers, truckers. Love you, kiss you, hug you, big dragon hugs to the truckers and the farmers. I'm asking on, please give them a discount for the coffees, the truckers, if coffee somewhere, to the restaurant, even the strip club, strippers, male or female, LGBTQ, whether strippers. If you see a farmer, give a farmer, or the truckers, 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 give them a free lap dance, please. Give them a free lap dance, please. Give them a free lap dance, please. Across North America, the Dancing Goddess Army special strip clubs. Discount for the farmers and the truckers and the butchers and the cooks, all involved in the production and distribution of food. The special Dancing Goddess Army strip club, DGA strip clubs, with discount for the farmers, truckers, butchers, bakers, and all involved in the production and distribution of food. The DGA Dancing Goddess Army locales, where we have the strippers. We have discount for the truckers, free lap dances, discount half prices for the truckers, prices for the farmers, for the butchers and the cooks and all involved in the production and distribution of food. So the dream of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. And again, thank you, love you, kiss you, big dragon hugs to all the truckers now, the farmers. I don't know how many people across North America now. Truckers going east, west, north, south, right? Thank you, love you, big dragon hugs, east, west, north, south. I dream is we can load some rock and roll, load some well, goods. Maybe next week, load some goods and distribute corporations a one-time deal for the Halloween to distribute some candies, chocolates, because all usually it's put half price after Halloween, right? So a lot of it is discarded. A lot of it is discarded. A lot of it is discarded. I don't know, a fifth, a third, maybe 10%, but a lot of it, if it's 10% out of every kilo, that's 100 grams, and that's a lot of candies, sweets, chocolates, goodies. That is, of course, discarded for Halloween, right? It's discarded. It's discarded. It's discarded. Into the garbage. And you see the reduction the day after Halloween, half price. So I'm calling for a special one-time deal ASAP. Today's 17th. We got 2 weeks. We can do it this week. If not, next week maybe I can volunteer. We're going to load some corporation. We can load some trucks, and distribute candies and goods to the neighborhoods to have for Halloween, for them to the houses to distribute to the children. Put it half price now. Get half price reduction on the candies, chocolates, sweets. We all made enough profits. I made enough profits. If the CEOs make millions of dollars annual salary and are able to get play the brothers in the NFL, National Football League, National Hockey League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, patriarchal sports leagues, if we're able to give them, okay, our athletes, I'm challenging you to do my workout, my training program called the General Integrated Total Body Training System. If y'all can make millions of dollars in a contract, and I think of course, the average salary for the NFL is 2.5 million. Some make more, some make less, and the NHL is 3.5 million. So some make more, some make less. The highest average salary is the NBA, National Basketball Association. So some make 7.7 average. So some make less than 7.7 million average annual salary. The highest is in the NBA, National Basketball Association. How? Compare that to women's sports leagues, not even close, right? Not even close, not even close, economically, financially, commercially. So 7.7 million a year if you make. You don't need another house. You got 7. Give now for Halloween. Calling patriarchal sports leagues, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Yeah, I'll give. I'm not perfect. I admit I do. I want to for I want to. It's small. I've been here in my underground room off some temple where I've worked out, trained, exercise. It's been also a gymnasium to that trinity of room off some temple here. I've worked out, I've trained, I've exercised, I've done lots of workouts, so more than 300 of my own creative workouts, and even prior to that, I've of course worked and written poetry and songs as an independent artist, the best songwriter in this now, the best in the underground rapper, independent athlete, an athlete in this underground room off some temple. I'm calling on the corporations, on the owners and players of the NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, and MLB to give a little bit, make it for the Halloween across North America, one-time deal. Just ASAP this week, today, 3 p.m. After 3 p.m. do a deal. And corporations, big corporations, big CEOs, Wall Street, multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires. Halloween for the children. It's such a good holiday for the children. We can do it half price before, one-time deal. In this tough economic, financial, commercial time, the worst economic, financial times with worst inflation across North America in more than 40 years. In more than 40 years, I've lived this as a millennial, as a millennial, as a millennial. You know? But, a lot of the candy is discarded. Then after a few weeks, and let's put half price after. We can do it. Can it be? Anyways, I hope so. I hope so. For the children to have them to have fun, and of course, to educate them. Of course, not to eat too much because the candy or the sweets, because they give them a tummy ache, and all. But just for the families, as a relief for this special holiday, which is nice and pleasurable for children, right? It's nice and pleasurable for children. And as an aspiring children's writer, children's books, I wrote a few children's books already, looking for a literary agent. I wrote a few children's books already, looking for a literary agent. And so That's what I'm calling for. The corporations who make millions of dollars, right? Who made chocolate. I'm not gonna start naming names. Please, you know who you are. The big ones and the corporations and the big retail giants. You know, you have you're able to pay the CEOs multi-million dollars a year and 5 million a year, 10 million a year. Do it a one-time deal for the athletes in the NFL, National Football League, and the owners of the leagues and the owners of the sports teams of the NFL and the athletes and the owners as well of the NFL, National Football League, of the NHL, National Hockey League, of the NBA, National Basketball Association, of MLB. For patriarchal ones, because the women's sports league, they don't make even close enough. There are women's sports. There's not even one women's sports league who has million-dollar contracts for the athletes. There have thousands of dollars contracts, only in the tens of thousands, 50, 60,000, but not even in the hundreds of thousands. While the NFL averages 2.5 million, the NBA averages 7.7 million, the NHL 3.5 million average in the millions. So some make more or less, right? If it's average, how statistics works, and MLB in the average, of course, of 5 million, 4 million. Please, owners and managers, for one-time Halloween, we'll call it a heart. I'll volunteer to load trucks and unload trucks with the goods. Can go to the neighborhoods, in the neighborhoods across North America, rural and urban, right? Put a pause. Do it 3 days, 3 days before Halloween next week, from Monday to Friday, because Halloween, I believe it's 2 weeks, not next Monday, but other Monday, right? It falls on a Monday, so you can do it during the week, during the week before, a few days before, during the weekend before Halloween. 3 days with the trucks and all private and public institutions and organizations, security services, right? RCMP and SPVM and police and armed forces. We can do this for when a public-private partnership, right? A public-private partnership. That's one-time deal for the children, to distribute some goods with the corporation, right? I'll put some muscle. I'll volunteer. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna get some big dragon muscles to load or unload the trucks as we go. We go right here from Hokkaido, Montreal. There's plenty of neighborhoods, we put donations and please take only this and that. Please take only this for that for children, so that you distribute to Halloween, and we bring them to the houses so that they have candy, to the houses who have, for example, to the houses who have put decorations, or to the houses, and we distribute. Can be done. It can be done. Blah 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 blah. Blah. I know. Blah 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 blah. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. What is it? My dream, of course, is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is for a to move basically towards a post-COVID economic, social, financial, political, philosophical, commercial system for pleasure and purpose. So fundamentally, in general, my dream, called the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is for us, at least across North America, to break the impasse, so move towards a post-COVID economic, social, financial, philosophical, political, social, even spiritual system for pleasure and purpose. So fundamentally, in general, to summarize what my dream, called the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is for us, to move towards a post-COVID economic, social, political, financial, philosophical, commercial, even political and spiritual system of pleasure and purpose by the implementation of my trinity of theories, which is called the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the Debt Refusion Theory, DRT, and the Democratic Fusion Theory. That trinity of theories to be implemented via the fourth dimension. What is the CIT? The Citizen Integration Theory calls, of course, the debt refusion theory has to be done first. So the Citizen Integration Theory is once the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions are created, which I'm calling their creation of these two new institutions in the 21st century, to be integrated with all existing public and private institutions and organizations, right? And organizations, and public and private institutions and organizations. So it's a public-private partnership, because we have since 1984 have created with the re-election of Reagan a global, corporatized, technocratic, financialized system. Since 1994, there has been a global, technocratic, financialized corporate system since 1994. A globalized, technocratic, financialized corporate system. So to balance and harmonize for the 21st century, my theories and the two institutions to be created here first and foremost from Hawk Island, Montreal across North America, and to be just like binational North America and beyond international for that matter. But right here, right now, just for example, like the NHL is now really National Hockey League, the NBA is not really national basketball, it's binational, binational. So first and foremost, of course, Canada, US, because we have this 21st century where we are now with maybe the third world war is knocking at the door. That's the third world war is knocking at the door. Third world war, some say, have started. Maybe, maybe not. Like my trinity on COVID, I don't know for sure what caused COVID. I have a trinity on COVID. I don't know for sure what caused COVID. I believe it was transmitted from snakes to human beings. Since I don't know for sure, I cannot rule out another possibility. X, Y, or Z. Be it an accident in the lab, being an experiment gone wrong, be it a bioweapon. I don't know for sure. I believe it was transmitted from snakes. Some people say another animal, like pigs or bats, from what's called in the scientific world zoonotic transmission. That's what I believe, from snakes to human beings. Now, but I don't know for sure. I have a doubt. I am triple vaccinated. Please increase in hygiene in public. This is my disinfectant. This is my hand sanitizer. I open carry my hand sanitizer. Open carry my hand sanitizer. Wash your hands with soap and water. Soap and water when you go in a bank, in a grocery store, in a mall, in a school. Wash your hands, sanitize, because there's microbes, bacteria, and germs. There's microbes, bacteria, and germs out there. You gotta wash and disinfect when you go inside, and preferably twice when you go in and out of a grocery store, of a school, of a mall, of a bank, whatever it is. Disinfect the hands with soap and water, hand sanitizer. Please, 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 because when we step outside, we're no longer just private citizens. Myself here in this underground room, Office and Temple, it's past noon. 12:07, independent artist, independent activist, AAA, plus other dimensions, a philosopher, geopolitical analyst and theorist, and of course, the world's greatest living dancing millennial rainbow poet with some brain and some muscle. I'm in my private underground room of Sun Temple. When I do step outside, I'm no longer just private citizen. I am also a public citizen. There's added responsibilities, duties, and obligations added to my private dimension. In theory, I can turn everything off, finish the live stream, finish the laptop, close the blinds, get naked and start dancing naked on Tekashi 6ix9ine music, Madonna music, or Kanye West music, or whatever music. My price for a naked dance, androgynous Adrian Harder Dragon naked dance is 1 hour, 1 million. 1 hour, 1 million. First, we're gonna pay my $10,000 in debt and give half to my sister. She deserves it. Every million, I'm gonna give half to my sister, because she's a great artist and she deserves it. She also is a great artist. Anonymous sister gonna give half for every million. But if we have debt refusion theory, have another story. So what is money? Money is a means of exchange, a unit of exchange. So my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is for us to move towards a post-COVID economic, philosophical, social, financial, political, geopolitical, social, and even spiritual, philosophical world for pleasure and purpose. This body is a temple for pleasure and purpose, and of our civilization in North America, we're gonna have it for purpose to attain harmony between civilization and nature, and for pleasure, enjoy the things civilization and nature has to offer. So many things I haven't seen, so many things across North America I want to go see. I was an American born twice in the past lives in the USA 156 years ago, that way 718 miles south of Hawk Island, that way, served in the US Army. I want to go visit all of North America, even Central America and South America, right? There's so much to see here, just in Canada, such a big place. Just Québec, la belle province, c'est tellement grand, le Québec. C'est les îles de la Madeleine, c'est pas mal loin d'ici. Au l'autre bout, jamais allé là-bas, tu sais. There's so many cities here across Quebec. Magdalene Islands, there's so many. Remember my anonymous sister when we went coast to coast Canada, that was the best trip ever. Well, I lost a lot of memory. I don't remember my youth much. I don't remember my adolescence much, my early adulthood much. I remember more 7, 8, 9, 10 years or so, and I paradoxically remember more past lives, previous incarnations, and right here, right now, in the past years and during COVID, my as I put in more intellectual, physical, cosm philosophical, artistic, and spiritual work than all the leaders of the free world combined during COVID. I put in more philosophical, artistic, poetic, intellectual, artistic work than all the leaders of the free world combined during COVID. I've put in more intellectual, philosophical, artistic, poetic, even physical work than all the leaders of the free world combined during COVID. That is my new CV, and I've marched more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. I've marched in steel toe boots more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. I've marched in steel toe boots more than the generals of NATO combined during COVID. Mr. Stolberg, please, my brother, Secretary General of NATO, try not to read that much from a piece of paper. Give me something from the heart, from the passion. Say that you love us. You love us. Say, I want to hear the word LOVE. I know you're wearing a suit and a tie. It's all good. I can be a professional and professionalism, and when I work out, train, exercise, when I say Dragon Zero drop down, give me 13 push-ups with LOVE, and for the sake of world peace, I mean it. But I want to hear the word love. Because otherwise, what are we fighting to save civilization for? This North American civilizational collective, this West Side, Western civilization, NATO, 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 NORAD, NORAD, NORAD. If somebody's not gonna make love today, somebody's not. With consent, consent, make love today. What are we fighting to save for? We got ICBM rockets. Whoosh, 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 boom. Make love today, man. Consent. Kiss like you never kissed today with consent. Hug like you never hugged before with consent. Work out like you never worked out today with consent. That's my message to my allies and armies. Hug like you never hugged before today with consent, of course, with consent, of course, with consent. My dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is to implement my trinity of theories. The first theory, which has to come first, is the debt refusion theory, the DRT. And then we can have the citizen integration theory, since citizen integration theory applies only when we have on the ground east, west, north, south. The two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, which are two sides to a coin. The dragon army cannot be without the dancing goddess army, and vice versa. Just like the dancing goddess, the dragon kingdom is the dragon and the dancing goddess empire. The dragon empire is one with the dancing goddess kingdom, and vice versa. The dancing goddess empire is one with the dragon kingdom, which is my dream. Move us for pleasure and purpose, with education, and I got new educational curriculum for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which includes more each day in the schools, high schools, especially high schools and beyond, from the lower grades 1 to 6. Free play, free time to dance on whatever music. So if we have a school, we can have a in a class there's or in a venue there's rock music, in another venue there's another class there's a rap. Before lunch, maybe 30 minutes, and after lunch, people they can just do their wildest, and then they can learn XYZ. We dedicated, consecrated that time for that specific activity. More physical activity, more physical activity, more dancing, dancing, dancing in school. I believe it's cool, right? Free dancing, more free dancing classes to just put music, whatever music it is, and just dance freely. Of course, with monitoring and love is understanding, and the dancing goddess and the dragon educational curriculums, which I've commenced and started writing, and which I'm dictating and giving it more in an oral form, and for them to channel and sublimate whatever they're feeling, their anger, their frustration, their aggressions, or their youth, and go via with love. And love is also action, and hygiene, hygiene, hygiene. The importance of hygiene in public, and the importance of understanding the feelings and the emotions which we have. I have feelings and emotions. Get moody. Wish I could afford a good massage therapy session. Well, cannot afford massage therapy at the moment, but I substitute. I'm grateful, thankful that I take a bath. Wow, take a long bath, like a 1 hour and a half, 93-minute bath during the weekend. I'm grateful, thankful that I got water to heated water. For that comes with clean, zero pollution, energy, and emission. Right. I'm here calling for the implementation of my trinity of theories, the CIT, citizen integration theory, death row fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory to be implemented via the fourth dimension LOV. The citizen integration theory comes after we have the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, and the Dragon Army come together. The Dragon Army is officially the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army. Right? To be for pleasure and purpose, the Dragon Army to secure the three essential elements of civilization: food, housing, and transport. Food, housing, and transport. Food, housing, and transport. Once those three elements are secured by a public-private partnership to offer the fourth dimension, the fourth dimension is services, services, services. All services with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding and love with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding and love, mutual understanding, consent, and hygiene. All services, help with the cooking, help with the cleaning, help with the children because they're driving the parents nuts. They're too hyperactive. They got 3 kids, and maybe they can use a little bit of running, a little bit of soccer play or football play or basketball at the court, or they can use a little bit of dancing and XYZ, XYZ, XYZ to do XYZ activities of the physical activities, the physical activities, the physical activities, whatever it is, XYZ physical activities. Say, hey, with a 1-800 number, Dragon Army, 1-800 Dragon Army, 1-800 Dragon Army, with applications looking for volunteers, supporters, volunteers, IT workers, XYZ, all willingly loving, all willingly loving, all willingly loving, because it's got to come from will and love, and to implement my theories, east, west, north, south, across the collective North American civilization, and of course to do the implementation of the theories once we have the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom on the ground, east, west, north, south. So to implement the CIT, we have to have the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom on the armies, the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army. We have to have it on the floor, on the ground, east, west, north, south. So those are services which can be offered with consent, hygiene, principle that harm none, mutual understanding and love. All services to be offered by the Dragon Army. We're first securing food, housing, and transport east, west, north, south across the collective North American civilization. And the first and foremost, the death row fusion theory has to come first. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee, gonna go switch. I'm doing laundry, so I got another load to do, so I'm gonna take a few minutes. I'm gonna take a minute here. Is gonna continue the live stream. I'm gonna do I'm not gonna interrupt it. I'm just gonna go try to do this quickly, since I do have to do laundry. My second load, I'm gonna go rock and roll it, because it's laundry day for yours too, and then we're gonna come discuss the death row fusion theory. Be back in 5. Put in the dryer. Now gonna go put in the other load, second load, because I'm doing double trouble loads today. We'll be back with the death row fusion theory discussion. We'll be back with the death row fusion theory discussion. See, we got laundry to do. See, grateful, thankful to my anonymous sister for providing the laundry machine and the dryer. Grateful, thankful my anonymous sister provided the laundry machine and the dryer. Grateful, thankful my anonymous sister provided a laundry machine and the dryer. If I make $1 million, I'm gonna give her half anyways. I have to pay my $10,000 debt. And For the other half of every million, gonna put to the work of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna need a little bit of extra coffee. Where we are at the debt refusion theory, debt refusion theory. What is the debt refusion theory? The debt refusion theory is my theory which I've written over the past years in complementary with the citizen integration theory and the democratic fusion theory. Rock and roll, we're gonna rock and roll it. The debt refusion theory, the DRT, is this. We can take all private and public debt. I'm gonna leave the sophisticated theorizing and my analysis over more than 7, 8, 9, 10 years or so as I made the libraries of the city of Hawkeye and Montreal my second home, and I've read tens of thousands of books and I've written tens of thousands of pages of theory, poetry, rock and roll songs, and analysis of civilization and nature and XYZ. And now I have this solutions for where we are in the 21st century on this 17th of October 2022 and this 12:23 p.m. in the EST in Hawkeye, Montreal. Please, if you make a million on the stock market today, buy, sell, trade stocks, futures, commodities, options, puts. Please give 10% of every million you make profit today or tomorrow. If you made a million in the past, buying, selling, trading stocks, Wall Street, Wall Street, Wall Street, stockbroker, financiers. Give 10% of every million for food security because everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. And divided by 4, 25,000, which is 125,000 is a quarter, 1/4 of 100,000. 100,000 is 10% of a million. Thus, you got 425,000, 125,000 for food security, 125,000 for LGBTQ youth services, 125,000 for women's sports, and 125,000 for environmental issues. So you can divide it by 4. Please do that. If you make a million on the stock market today, buy, sell, trade stocks, futures, options, puts. That is my call. Now the DRT, debt refusion theory. I'm going to leave the sophisticated theorizing and the overly verbose, intellectual, cosmopolitan, and overly perhaps academic jargons, and we'll go straight be more straightforward and direct, more straightforward and direct. Sometimes we gotta be more straightforward and direct. As like I said, I'm grateful, thankful that my rent is paid and my electricity bill is fully paid, paid in full. Fully paid my electricity bill, fully paid my rent the 17th of October, so I can rock and roll, work out, train, exercise today, later on, like you never had before. And I'm gonna write poetry. I'm gonna go rock and roll with the DRT, debt refusion theory. Taking all private and public debt. The debt refusion theory, you take all private and public debt. My private debt is $10,000 to the RBC, of which I gotta mention, due to the past last week and these past weeks and months, of course, the Central Bank of Canada has raised the interest rates even 1%, 4%, 4 basis points, what's called 100 basis points, which is 1%. That made that people who have debts, even myself included, our interest rates have gone up. I'm paying now the most interest that I ever paid on the debt. I'm paying now most interest that I ever paid before. I never paid so much interest on the debt, because the debt itself is not a problem. It's the interest that we pay. The debt itself is not a problem. It's the interest paid on the debt, right? The debt itself can be manageable, but it's the interest. That's paid on the debt that can be problematic in XYZ circumstances and XYZ situations, such as it could be now in this, with the inflation in more than 40 years of worst inflation, meaning inflation, basically we buy less for the same dollar. For the dollar we buy less. That's what inflation means. We buy less. Buy the dollar for the dollar we buy less. That is what inflation means. And my solution is the DRT, debt refusion theory is my solution proposition, my DRT. And of course they go hand in hand together with the CIT, citizen integration and democratic fusion theory, because the DRT, to be implemented in my theory for the purpose of creating the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the international citizen integrated social security and service force, aka the Dragon Army, with the international integrated dance league, aka the dancing goddess army. So the debt refusion theory is this: taking all private debt and public debt. For example, if private debt is represented by the letter X, and if I'm X1, I'm 10,000 in debt to the RBC. Again, as many Canadians and of course the Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the USA, has also in the past weeks and months hiked the interest rate. So my brothers and sisters in the USA who have mortgages, depending on what type of mortgages, but most mortgages, credit cards, loans, business loans, XYZ, credit lines, the interest we pay has gone up. I'm paying the most interest due to the Bank of Canada having raised the rates, and it hasn't been raised by 1 full percentage point in more than 22 years, since August 1998. August 1998, in more than 22 years, the Bank of Canada has now raised rates by such an amount, such a big amount, which is the Central Bank of Canada, created by the Bank of Canada Act 1935, something like that. 1933, 35, Bank of Canada. So I'm going for the North American Debt Refusion Act. The North American Debt Refusion Act, the North American Debt Refusion Act, and beyond North America with our brothers and sisters, NATO, because we have an alliance. And of course, as a North American, many past lives, many incarnations across the world, I am calling for world peace. I'm a world peace advocate, but I'm also realistic and a geopolitical analyst and theorist who also happened paradoxically in a providential parallel way back in October 2019 as a fitness journey have created the workout to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario. You heard that right. I have proof of work, and as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, parallel to being everything that I also am, an artist, an athlete, a fitness captain, independent fitness captain, and a geopolitical analyst and theorist, back in 2019 October had made and designed the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragon Army workout, to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario. I sounded the alarm back in October 2019 after my analysis, geopolitical analysis, for analyzing the situation, global situation, and I've seen the trends and I've analyzed the past economic events of a major geopolitical nature, had said and taken into consideration such major geopolitical events such as the US-China trade war, which began the deterioration of Sino-Canadian, Sino-American, Sino-North American, Sino-Western relations. Basically, Sino stands for, when I use SINO, stands for China is a civilization, which China is. I'm not going to discuss just China topics. That's perhaps a civilization, which I do say that many of us in the West, my brothers and sisters, we do not fully understand China as a civilization. So if you want an hour, more than an hour, 2 hour, more than an hour long coffee with Dragon, 2 hour long, 3 hour long, an in-depth analysis of China, which I've done coffee with Dragon past. I've read about China from the internet, and I've read about the historical events. If you want an in-depth analysis, universal revolutionary centrist, a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. So that's another topic you can sponsor, commission, finance, XYZ, blah blah blah, tra la blah 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 tra la. For the North America, as a North American geopolitical analyst and theorist, back in 2019, had analyzed the situation worldwide, and I sounded the alarm. I said, brothers and sisters, had taken major events into consideration: the U.S.-China trade war, which began the deterioration of Sino-Western relations, Sino-American, Sino-Canadian, Sino-North American relations. The relations have been downgraded and went down and to the point of crises in the past weeks, months, and years, during COVID even more, right? And of course, I've taken into consideration other geopolitical events: the Islamic State ongoing terrorism, of course, the Islamic State ongoing terrorism, the U.S.-China trade war, and other events which had transpired of a geopolitical nature in the past, and what had recently occurred, such as even in the past, the Pearl Harbor event. So I sounded the alarm back in 2019. I said, humanity, we are again on a path towards another international conflagration, meaning a World War III, and so created, made, and designed what is known as the General War Integrated Total Body Training System. Those 7 words is my workout called the Dragon Army workout, or the 300 workout. So when I did the first session, October 17th, had made it, created, and designed it to go hand in hand with a World War III scenario. With a World War III scenario. That's when I created it back in 2019. Paradoxically, it resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crisis, and furthermore the recent the recent Russia-Ukraine crisis. Now, when I've created it, I took into consideration geopolitical events such as I've aforementioned, the U.S.-China trade war, the ongoing terrorism by the Islamic State in the Middle East, and other geopolitical events. So I said, we are again on a path. We're going again towards an international conflagration, meaning a World War III. So created this workout, of which I've performed 300 sessions. Of this, I've officially turned that A into an O, because I've said I'm going to do 300, and I'm going to see how much fit I become when I do 300. And well, my workout: effective, simple, effective, simple, effective, simple, and efficient. Simple, effective, and efficient. Simple, effective, and efficient. Efficient, simple, and effective. It's effective, simple, and efficient. Requires no equipment. What it does, it increases general overall fitness. My workout increases general overall fitness. I'll perform more than 300 sessions. Of course, I've turned that A officially of my surname into a no. Dragon became dragon, dragon became dragon, dragon became dragon. September 29th of this year, 2022, I've performed successfully my 300 sessions. I'm auctioning the papers, of which I got 20, where are written by hand the date and the performance of every and each session. So these are the rules. You got 93 minutes to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks, and 93 minutes is total allocated time. Once you start the countdown, there's no pause. You got to keep it in motion: march, jog, or run and walk fast pace. 13 maximum reps per set, 3 minimum, anywhere in between 7, 5, 6, 10, whatever the number is, until you get to 100. 13 and 3, they go together. 13 for maximum reps allowed per set, 3 for how many minimum are allowed per set. So you can do 7, 6, 9, 10, whatever the number is between those sets. And of course, there's a 31 second of minimum, which is a requirement: minimum marching or jogging or running or walking fast pace in between. 4 numbers, 4 rules. 93 for how many minutes is the total allocated time for you to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 hawks. Trinity of working out of exercises: squats, push-ups, and hawks. You know, you see my hundreds of videos of workout training exercise. In that trinity, of course, integrates the cardio, the 4th dimension, right? The 4th dimension: marching, jogging, or running, walking fast pace. I've done myself more than 300. Now I'm doing special ones. You're going to see one later tonight after 3 p.m. the afternoon, late afternoon. I'm going to do a special dragon workout. You can bet on that, as I've done last week as the people's athlete. So, because it's my medicine and therapy. It's my medicine and therapy. After this, I'm going to eat something. I'm going to continue doing my laundry. I'm going to keep on knocking on some doors. I'm looking for partnership. I'm looking for LOV and partnership and action, and volunteers, and people to commission, or XYZ, blah blah blah, tralala. So I've created it to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario. Paradoxically, I was a world peace advocate, who I'm still calling for world peace, but I'm acquainted with the darker, shadier, more aggressive, more jealous, the subconscious within myself. You know, I channel and sublimated, and I said, humanity, we got, myself included, we got a lot to refine. We got a lot to work to do on ourselves. You know, I'm not totally selfless. I'm not totally selfless. I try to be balanced between the self and the collective. I am for the greater good with all the imperfections, all the pornography watching during the Sabbaths and the XYZ. I am for the greater good. I am for the greater good. I am for the greater good. I believe in my theories first and foremost, but I don't want. I want to be. I want to be fully open, full disclosure, full disclosure about who I am. That I do have lust. I do have cravings of the body, even as a spiritual, universal spiritual teaching student. I'm not a flying on clouds, although that's my temple, Mother Nature, with a beautiful blue sky, and the sun is my pope. The sun is my pope. The sun is my pope. And I do say the word goddess, Godds, goddess, forgotten goddess, who dances with her brother, sun in my spirituality. You can be secular, right? You can be secular, suit up, give me a red suit up and a green tie, XYZ, whatever, XYZ, blah, 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 la, 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 tra, la, la. I'm not perfect. I got issues, got vices to say, I would love to afford a bacon every week, bacon even twice or three times. I would love it. Though last month I'm grateful that I had some bacon. I found it out, especially was half price. It was not really half price, like 30% off, from $7.99 to $4.99. So it's $3 off, like 40%, 44%, maybe 44% off, something like that. Not half fully, but I got it. Thank you. I'm grateful, thankful for that. And I want to afford this bottle of wine, which is 28 bucks and 60, which is local wine, and comparison to the other ones from Italy, France, and Spain, it was 3 times the price, paradoxically. So yes, I do admit that I want, I want to get something bigger. This room offs and tempo, because I've been here for a few years, and I do want to progress. Anyways, the debt refusion theory. Debt refusion theory. This is what it is. What I'm calling for the implementation. Taking all private or public debt. If X represents the private debt of private citizens, if I'm X1, you're X2, and there's hundreds of X's, tens of thousands of X's, hundreds, even millions of X's across Canada, US, taking all the debt, private debt of private citizens, and the public, Canadian debt, US debt, calling first across the collective North American civilization, right? And Canada, US, Mexico, and I include Cuba, paradoxically I include Cuba. I include Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, and all the islands. I include them in the collective North American civilization. There's an inclusion of the islands, Mexico, but of course, first and foremost, the collective North American civilization. So taking all private and public debt, refusing it, meaning what does refusion mean? Is we take all the private and public debt of Canada, Canada's debt, private citizens' debt, such as myself, $10,000 to the RBC. We add it up together, and the US debt we convert, because it's gonna have to be a conversion, because we're gonna convert it to refuse it to the US dollar, to what the US dollar is in that period of time. Hopefully ASAP. The US dollar. The US dollar today is we're gonna do a check, and it's gonna go check. We're gonna go check. Let's go check. What is Canadian to US dollar? Canadian to US dollar. 1 Canadian dollar today is the equivalent of 73 US cents. So 1 Canadian dollar today is the equivalent of 73 US cents. 1 Canadian dollar today is the equivalent of 73 US cents. How about vice versa? Because it has to be converted into US dollar to create the UE. Because I'm calling for debt refusion theory, the DRT, debt refusion theory, in order to create what I call the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, which will be at par with the United States dollar, and to create a North American central bank, an international financial, a new international financial system, a global worldwide central bank, if you will. So the US dollar today, $1 today, October 17, to have this one, which is printed in 2009. This one was printed in 2009. This one was printed in 2009. So US dollar is the equivalent of $1 and 37 cents Canadian. So it appreciated, it went up. It was low, it was 1.30, and then it went up more. So we could say in economics, finance, we can say that the US dollar has appreciated versus the Canadian dollar, while the Canadian dollar has depreciated. Depreciation meaning losing value, appreciation meaning gaining value. So 1 US dollar today is the equivalent of 1.37, $1 Canadian and 37 cents. Wow. So I quite appreciate it. How about the Mexican peso? Let's see the Mexican peso. The peso de Mexico. 1 Mexican peso today is the equivalent of 5 cents US. 1 Mexican peso today is the equivalent of 5 cents US. 1 Mexican peso today is the equivalent of 5 cents US. 1 US dollar is the equivalent, it went down. Last week it was 20 exactly, it went down. So it depreciated a bit versus the, because it always fluctuates. So in a few days it depreciated. Last week we checked about 5 days ago. 5 or 6 days ago we checked, maybe 4 days ago, 4 or 5 or 6 days ago. It was a Thursday. Gonna have to check the videos because they're all there posted. Gonna have to check the video because they're all there posted on my work every day. 1 US dollar is the equivalent of 19.98 Mexican peso. 1 US dollar is the equivalent of 19.98 Mexican peso. 1 US dollar today, this dollar printed in 2009, this dollar US is the equivalent of 19.98 Mexican pesos today. Let's see the euro, because debt refusion theory, my theory to be implemented on calling the implemented DRT, to take all private and public debt, all public and private debt, all the public and private debt, and to refuse it, meaning we can have to convert it to the US dollar and create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. UE stands for U.E.U, the UE. So whatever the number is in the debt, total debt of Canadian private and public citizens, if X represents individual citizens' private debt, such as myself, $10,000 to the RBC, $10,000 my debt, XY, plus all the millions of X's, my $10,000 converted into US dollars, the Mexican debt converted into US dollars, the Euro debt, Euro converted into US dollars, the Israeli new shekel, Israeli new shekel converted as my protocol project called Genesis 33, my protocol Genesis 33, based on that story where the twins Jacob and Esau embraced and kissed, based on the story of Genesis 33 where the twins Jacob and Esau embraced and kissed, based on the story of Jacob and Esau where the twins embraced and kissed. Just 30. So NATO countries and North American and beyond, my brothers and sisters in Africa, the Middle East, South America, from North America first, of course, because I'm a North American, I'm a collective North American civilization, a geopolitician, philosopher, artist, athlete, activist of the collective North American civilization. I do aspire to believe I'm a global citizen, a rainbow dragon, truly part of the LGBTQ community, rainbow nation across the nations we are. But indeed, right here from Hawk Island, Montreal, as a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, and also a global citizen, aspiring, of course, open-minded, and I gotta act local, think global, act local, think global, act local, think global. Our corporations, of course, and a global for world peace. Euro to US conversion. So 1 euro today is the equivalent of 98 US cents. 1 euro today is, wow, it was at par. So it kind of stayed the same in the past 2 weeks. 1 euro today is 98 US cents. 1 euro today is 98 US cents. And the dollar, 1 US dollar, it's printed US dollar, which have print 2009 series, 2009 series, 2009 series. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So that was money is a unit of exchange. So the US dollar today is 1.02 euros. 1 US dollar today is 1.02 euros. 1 US dollar today is 1.02 euros. That's what it is today. So it's pretty much kind of even. So this from the Eurozone. The Eurozone, many countries, some countries still have their both currencies. Some countries in the Eurozone, in the EU, the European Union, some countries, not that many, I believe. Some countries have retained and have both the euro and their old currency. Germany no longer has the marks, they only have the euro, right? Italy no longer has the lira. But some countries have both. So let's see Israeli new shekel. One Israeli new shekel is equivalent to 28 cents US today. One new Israeli shekel, the NIS, the NIS, one new Israeli shekel is the equivalent of 28 cents US, while vice versa, one US dollar, this US dollar, is the equivalent of 3.52 new Israeli shekel. One US dollar is the equivalent of 3.52 new Israeli shekel. One US dollar is the equivalent of 3.52 new Israeli shekels. I wonder what the Israeli shekels buys in, what this dollar converted into 3.52 new Israeli shekels buys. Can I get a cup of coffee somewhere in Tel Aviv? Can I get a cup of coffee somewhere in Tel Aviv? Cup of coffee somewhere in Tel Aviv? I want to go to the Pride. I want to go to the Pride Parade. I want to do an Adrian Hunter Dragon dancing workout dance. Pride Parade in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv. So that's what it is, taking all private and public debt, refusing it. So whatever the number is of that debt, my debt, X, I'm $10,000, so my X plus your X plus his X plus all the hundreds of thousands, millions of X's, taking all the private and the public debt of the countries as well, and convert it to the US dollar, and create the UE. What stands for? The Universal Exchange Unit. The UE stands for Universal Exchange Unit. So it'd be a new currency from all the public and the private debt, a new currency called the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. The Universal Exchange Unit stands for the UE. Universal. UE is an acronym. U.E.U. Universal Exchange Unit. So taking all the private and the public debt, my private $10,000, all the X's representing all the private debt of private citizens such as myself, and all the public debt, the letter Y, all the Y's of the countries, the Y and the X's put together, convert Canadian dollars to US dollars, Mexican pesos to US dollars, Israeli new shekels to US dollars, euros to euro dollars. So the conversion will have to be the conversion into the currencies, and it will give us a number. The number is in trillions, and with that number, that will be the infusion, the number of the first money supply of this new financial economic system, of the new financial economic system, of a new global central bank, the new global central bank, of the new global central bank. And then we'll set up an interest rate of maximum 10%. We'll set up on my principles, such as my principle for charity 10%, set up a maximum interest 10%. It can be 9.99, 9.3, 9.3, 9.3, or it can be 9, it can be 8, 8.5, 7.70, 7.70, 7.70, whatever the number is. It can be 6. But maximum 10% on all loans thereafter. All business loans, school loans, private loans, pleasure loans, XYZ loans, after we have this new currency, to integrate and surpass the existing currencies, to be a universal exchange unit, because the dollar is still the top currency in the world. The dollar is still the top currency in the world. The dollar is still the international trade, world commerce, and of course global business is still, although in the past years and since about 2007 about has been challenged by the yuan. Paradoxically, a paradox is the ruble. The ruble is quite the paradox. It seems to have, since March, I've looked at it has bounced back quite paradoxically to me, but a lot of oil factor, the factor of oil and the export of oil and the natural gas by Russia is a major factor in the rebound of the ruble, which is the Russian currency, which has depreciated a lot in between end of February and mid-March, until about 20th of March of this year. So for about 3 weeks, almost a month, it went down, and then it rebounded, and now it has gained. It's become a strong currency. It's a paradox, but there's factors that explain that paradox, and so I'm not going to go into the discussion of the currency because I'm not a genius or an expert. I know a little bit about nothing. I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing. I'm just a piece of dust, lusting and dancing piece of dust at the end of the day, with some brain and some muscle, with the theories, CIT, citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, that trinity of theories, of which this one, the debt refusion theory, I'm going to go over again, because it's a major component factor of my dream, which is the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is my dream. to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the International Integrated Dancing, aka the Dancing Goddess Army. So I present to you my dream, and one of the practical and of course theories to be implemented in a practical way is the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT. So taking all private and public debt, refusing it to the whatever the US dollars, so all Canadian dollars, the debt of private and public of Canada, public and private debt of Mexico, private and public debt of Europe, public and private debt of Israel. Refuse it, whatever the number is, create in parallel the UE, the UE, the UE. So, and with the UE, preferably by, of course, biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometric identifiers. That's what I'm calling on. Public-private partnership, I'm calling on my astrological brother, Bill Gates, my Scorpio brother Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, to the partnership, Elon Musk, Sheryl Sandberg, and of course all public and private institutions and organizations, government of Canada, coast to coast, and government of my brothers and sisters in the USA, and of course in this late hour 21st century, in a public-private partnership of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, a public-private partnership to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions. By the debt refusion theory has to go first. So take all private and public debt. My private is 10,000, yours whatever. And I'm calling on all the multi-millionaires and billionaires and of all institutions and organizations, both public and private, to support all corporations, XYZ, East, West, North, South, from of course all the major corporations to all the willingly living citizens, to support the implementation of my trinity of theories known as CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, Debt Refusion Theory, DRT, and the Democratic Fusion Theory. So the Debt Refusion Theory, taking all private and public debt, refusing it, whatever the number is in US dollars, create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. By biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers by a public-private partnership with all public and private security forces and armed forces, armies of Canada, US, and NATO, NORAD. Yo, Elon Musk, I want 300 helicopters, those new Chinooks in a public-private partnership to secure food, housing, and transport. Dragon Army and yours truly to encourage people to work out, train, exercise, and hygiene in public. Please wash your hands in public with hand soap and water, hand sanitizer. Please hygiene in public, Please increase in hygiene in public. Wash your hands with hand sanitizer, soap, and water when you go in and out of a bank, of a grocery store, of a restaurant, on any place when you go in and out. Increase in hygiene in public by hand sanitizer, wash. Please wash your hands when you go outside in public, because we got a responsibility, duty, and obligation in public. We got germs, microbes, and bacteria. So I want 300 helicopters, part of the Dragon Army, which the Dragon Army is of course a public-private partnership with the Dancing Goddess Army, to be more for pleasure and purpose. But first and foremost, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, which is the main component to take all private and public debt. Like I said, the Canadian private and public debt of all citizens and organizations, of course, institutions, and national debt of Canada, US, Mexico, NATO member countries, members of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and of course my project Genesis 33 will include Israel and beyond, Middle East, my brothers and sisters in the Middle East, Africa, South America, first and foremost, all the collective North American civilization here from North America, taking all private and public debt, refusing it, in collaboration, cooperation, partnership with all the public and private institutions and organizations, volunteers, armies. Type, write the message, transcript printed every year, write this message, transcript every year, print. Volunteers, write this message, transcript everywhere. And of course, debt refusion theory, DRT, taking all private and public debt, refusing it, creating the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, the Universal Exchange Unit, the U.E.U. stands for the acronym Universal Exchange Unit. So by taking all private and public debt of Canada, Mexico, NATO member countries, Israel and beyond, all other willingly living, and creating the global central bank and international financial system, a worldwide financial global central bank, and of course to create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, based on what the US dollar is, the value of the US dollar at that point in time, after we take all the private and the public debt of the countries aforementioned, North America, NATO, Israel and beyond, Central America, South America, of course creating the Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, Universal Exchange Unit, the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometric identifiers. So whatever the number is of all the debt of Canada, NATO member countries, Israel, converting it into US dollars, and that initial amount of all the private and the public debt converted into US dollar, with that amount to be the initial money supply for this new global transnational central bank, to, and then to increase the money supply only with 10% principal on all loans, the interest rate to be 10% on all loans, to be interest rate to be 10% on all loans, to be the 10% on all loans thereafter, after having this global central bank, the bank of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is my dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is my dream. And this, whatever the money is, the initial money supply, of course, then created two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army to secure food, housing, and transport for all. Food, housing, and transport for all secure the three essential elements of civilization for all. Food, everybody got to eat, even Wall Street. Housing and transport. Food, housing, and transport. Thank you, love you, kiss you, railway workers, train conductors with the freight train. Love you, kiss you, hug you, truckers, butchers, bakers, farmers. How many truckers now going east, west, north, south? Truckers, truckers, truckers. Across the collective North American civilization, we love you, I love you. The railways, truckers going east, west, north, south. So to have the citizen integration theory, then once we have the debt refusion theory, like I've said, the taking all private and public debt of Canadians, Canada, and the Canada country, and Mexico, EU, the NATO member countries, and Israel, and beyond, of course, taking all the private and the public debt, refusing it, whatever that number is, converted into US dollar, that would be the initial money supply of the central bank, right, of the global central bank. And the currency to be called the UE, because that's what money fundamentally is an exchange unit, fundamentally, to buy, sell, to buy and sell, buy and sell. So the UE to be preferably, of course, in a public-private partnership, calling on my astro brother Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, and of course Elon Musk, by of course bio and a public-private partnership by biometrics, preferably the hand, the voice, and the eye being unique biometric identifiers, a digital ID, digital ID, digital, of course, ID, which of course, as yours truly is Adrian Hanna, Dragon, androgynous pansexual, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, androgynous pansexual, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, as yours truly is the androgynous pansexual, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, and the ID, of course, of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, all willingly living. And after we have debt refusion theory, taking all private and public debt, refuse it to the US dollar, create the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, because fundamentally that's what money is. Of course, create by the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dragon Army, officially titled the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragon Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, to be complementary covenant in cooperative way, like two sides to a coin. And of course the Dragon Army to secure food, housing, and transport, the trinity of civilization. And after the fourth dimension afterwards, after those three are secured, with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding, consent and hygiene, all services to be offered by the Dragon Army. Cooking, I can cook, can clean, cooking, cleaning, helping with the children are hyperactive, they need a half an hour to go run, do some sports, do some push-ups, do some dancing, because they're driving the parents crazy. The parents could use an hour or an hour, half an hour alone time to do XYZ or XYZ, or just help with XYZ, whatever, daycares, XYZ, on the ground, east, west, north, south, and all dancing, all singing, integrated 21st century loving army, and all dancing, all singing, 21st century integrated army, all loving, all integrated, all dancing, integrated army. The International Integrated Dance League, the International Integrated Dance League to be the DGA for pleasure and purpose, for the environment, environmental action and education, environmental education and action, environmental education and action. To take action for the environment by education, encouraging citizens to do better recycling, better compost, better recycling and compost, better compost and recycling. The DGA. to organize dancing events for pleasure and purpose and other pleasurable activities. So to be complementary, covenant in a cooperative way. The dragon army with the dancing goddess army, right? Secure food, housing, and transport. Secure food, housing, and transport by the dragon army, and then offer the fourth dimension services. Whatever services with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding, and love. That's all that's required. Principle, harm, non-principle. Given XYZ. A trucker needs a massage, you can't afford it. So I can somebody, I'm driving 13 hours, I'm gonna stop after 7 hours, I have to drive another 6 afterwards, or XYZ, I'm gonna long drive from Montreal to California, or from California to Vancouver, or from Texas to Montreal. For a long drive from Canada coast to coast, or US coast to coast, or from Mexico to Canada, XYZ, I'm gonna drive a long time. I need a goddamn neck rub for half an hour. Can I stop there in this state, in this province? Can I get a dragon unit? Can I get a good goddamn neck massage? Yeah, we got you, brother. Yeah, we got you, brother. Sure, no thing. Pleasure. Yeah. Thanks, dragons. Dragons rock. Dragon army. We dragon army. Don't play around. The body's a temple for pleasure and purpose. The that's what you want. If we can offer, give. We can offer, give. We can offer, give. We can give. We can offer. Help with the cooking, do dancing, we work out, we encourage hygiene in public, we go march, we go citizen integration theory, integrate and encourage citizens to, of course, via the Dragon Army, to go see, for example, how the dams here in Quebec operate, function, one of the 63 dams, to go see and learn about them, to see, for example, how farming is done, potato farming, corn farming, oil farming, to see how farming is done, to see, of course, how railways, the railways function, and highways, to integrate across all levels of civilization. That's the CIT, citizen integration theory, to fight alienation, the CIT to fight alienation, to integrate on the ground, to see, for example, how the ports operate, how the dock works, so farming is done, how painting is done, how XYZ, all matters of civilization, even the arts in the theater, to go see how the theater works, how the filming is done, XYZ, citizen integration theory, to integrate across all levels of civilization, from the arts to the farming to the butchers, love your kiss your bakers and butchers and cooks, to the food production and distribution, to the supply chains. How many supply chains now? Tons of corn going east, west, north, south, tons of milk going east, west, north, south, tons of potatoes going east, west, north, south. How many tons of grapes going east, my favorite fruit, going east, west, north, south, or in the supermarkets, east, west, north, south. Food, housing, and transport, security, three essential elements of civilization. After fourth dimension, the services thereafter. With consent and hygiene, all services to be offered. I like to be spanked. Can I be spanked 30 minutes? Goddamn dragon. Sure, no judgment, no problem. We ain't dragon getting to offer this fellow supporter, ally, and armies, XYZ, and ally and army dragon army to be offer some XYZ. I just need a good goddamn 5-minute hug. Sure. Whatever it is. Just need to rant. Let me do some push-ups with a dragon. Let some steam out. Sure. All services with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love, attract with. So be accounting and integrate with all social media, Instagram, Facebook, integrated with all social media, Instagram, Facebook, integrated with all medias, radio, television, east, west, north, south, across the collective North American civilization and beyond, with application, app, so that, don't abuse my dragons because dragons spit fire, don't abuse my dragons, dragons spit fire, don't abuse my dragons because dragons spit fire, so don't ask for 3 massages a day, goddamn trucker. Few a week, pending. And of course, transport to be XYZ, allocations of transport to go east, west, north, south for XYZ percentages. So that is the dream of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. In a summary way, yours truly, Adrian Hanna, dragon androgynous pansexual, founder of the dancing goddess and dragon kingdom thereof. That is the dream of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force with the International Integrated Dance League by the debt refusion treaty, taking all private and public debt, Canadian public and private debt, US, of course, US is already no need for the conversion. We convert all debt to Canadian debt, the debt of NATO member countries, Israel and beyond, converted into US dollars, create the UE Universal Exchange Unit by biometrics, provided the hand, the voice, and the eye, unique biometric identifiers. Public-private partnership, my dream is a public-private partnership, love you. Put it on Facebook, never delete,